Hello, everyone, and welcome to this workshop, Finding Purpose and Career Motivation. The aim of this workshop is to share with you practical tools that you will be able to use after the workshop to help you find your purpose and turn it into a meaningful and successful career. So, what are we going to do today? This is the schedule. First of all, we're going to be talking about what is purpose and the importance of finding work you love. We're going to do a few self-discovery exercises to help you find your purpose, to connect with your passion, with your thing. We're going to do one exercise for setting goals and next steps. I want this workshop to be very, very practical. So you will be setting some actions that you will be able to implement starting today or tomorrow, maybe the latest. We're going to have a break, a very short one, because there's a lot of content to cover. And in the second part of the workshop, we're going to be talking about how to deal with our uncertainty, all those fears, that self-doubt, all those stoppers that prevent us from reaching our goals and to connecting with our higher purpose and doing something you love and have a successful and meaningful career. I'm going to be talking about how to make decisions from our inner wisdom, how to connect with our intuition, and how to combine it with other resources to make the best career decisions. We're going to do another practical exercise, this one about confidence, because I know it's so important to feel confident on your career path, to make sure that you're going to reach your goals, that you are going to stay motivated and that you're not going to give up. So this is going to be a confidence booster and something that you're going to keep referring to again and again to remind you of all those tools you have, all those resources you have. And we're going to finish like we normally do with a guided visualization. And this one is going to be about connecting with your inner guidance. There will be time for Q&As, of course, but if at any time during the workshop you feel like asking a question, just put it in the chat or unmute yourself and let me know. Okay, so finding purpose. Before we talk about finding purpose, what it is and how to do it, let me tell you a bit about my story and why I'm holding this workshop. So I started my career doing something I didn't like just because I thought I was going to be very successful and I was going to make a lot of money. So I started my career in consulting and banking, and I spent more than 10 years doing something I basically hated. And yeah, I made a lot of money. I was right about that, but no, I wasn't successful, at least not in my terms, because I wasn't happy at all. I found it meaningless. I felt like I was just putting numbers on a spreadsheet, that I was preparing useless reports just to make a few people richer and richer and richer, but it didn't have any impact. It didn't have any meaning for me. So after years of just being stuck in the rat race, just because I thought that would be the only way I had to pay my bills and to make money and to find success, I started to get to know myself a bit better, and I knew that I had had enough and that something had to change. So I retrained. I completely changed my career from the finance industry to I retrained as a counselor. I did a master's degree in counseling. I then qualified as a coach. I keep training in other content and other approaches. And now I run my own business, my coaching practice, where I do life coaching, career coaching, and therapy sessions. And the aim of this workshop is to share with you that anyone can do it. This is an idea that I really want to share with you. Anyone can do it. I'm nothing special. I am not the chosen one. I just decided that I had had enough. I just decided that I wanted a change from something I didn't like to something that I found meaningful. And I'm not going to lie, it took time to find about what I wanted to do. It took time to retrain, and gain those skills. And all these years where I've been doing it every day, now I have the experience to feel confident on what I'm doing. And it didn't happen overnight, but also it didn't have to be complicated, because when you're doing something you love, when you're training, when you're studying, when you're studying something, you just flow. It just flows. So the purpose of this workshop is to share all the tools I used, to share all the tips I have to share with you, to help you make this transition easier, and especially to help you connect with that sense of purpose, with that calling, with that passion. Because trust me, when you work on something you love, when you work on something you're really passionate about, life is 10 times better. It's so much better. You feel much happier. You feel so fulfilled, and like I will explain later, you're going to be way more successful doing something you love than doing something you hate. That's pure logic, right? So let's go to let's start talking about what purpose is, and how to connect with it. We all came here for a reason. We all have natural talents, strengths, skills that we need to use to have an impact. And honestly, we need less people addicted to the phones, lost, not knowing what to do, just making the world a really bad place. We need less people stuck in the rat race, feeling frustrating, feeling stressed, being burnt out. That's being completely disconnected from yourself. That's just surviving to pay bills. That's just trying to get success by making more money, by having a bigger bonus, by having a more important title in your job. And it can give you, money can make your life easy sometimes. It can give you that sense of power, because everyone admires you if you have a great job, if you make a lot of money. But deep inside, how fulfilling is that? So purpose is about finding that thing that fulfills you, that thing that lights up your heart, that things that you wake up thinking, this is what I'm meant to be doing. And it doesn't mean that it's going to be fun all the time. Trust me. It's not about, I've heard this quote that goes something like, find work you love and you won't have to work a day in your life. Meaning that if you find something you love, it doesn't feel like working. It feels like you're having fun all the time. I don't agree with that. Because, for example, there are many parts of my business that I hate, like all this admin stuff, legal stuff, tax, blah, 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 promotion, technical issues with meetings and uploading videos and things like that. No, that's not fun. That's not fun. But overall, you should have that feeling of, okay, I'm moving in the right direction. Yeah, this feels right. Okay, today was a bit shit. But in general, this is what I'm meant to be doing. This is the right path for me. Because life is not about just surviving to pay the bills, We are here for much more. We are here to learn. We are here to thrive, not to survive. Yeah, we will make mistakes a lot. But it's all about growing and growing and growing. Always. We will always be work in progress. That never ends. But we're also here to live fully, not to be stuck in that rat race or in that hamster wheel. That's not what life is about. That's not what we came here for. And think about it. You don't want to be in your deathbed thinking, oh my God, I've wasted so much time in that office job. Oh my God, I worked so many hours. I missed, I don't know, my kids' childhood. I didn't spend enough time with my partner, with my family, etc., doing something meaningless, You want to be thinking, you want to be at peace thinking, okay, that's what I was meant to do, and I did my best. And I don't know if you've read the book Ikigai, or if you've heard about this concept. It's a beautiful word, a Japanese word, that doesn't have a direct translation into English, but probably the closest one would be life purpose, something like that. So Ikigai is a book which is about understanding why on certain places on earth people live over 100 years and have very, very healthy lives. Because one thing is being very old, and another thing is being very old and healthy, not in a nursing home with dementia and all these diseases from the modern world. So the author travels to some places and he ends up in this island in Japan where the percentage of people over 100 years is significantly higher than in the rest of the world. So he studies their habits and how they live, their lifestyle, what they do, what they eat, So he finds different patterns common to all these over 100-year-olds. And he talks about diet, he talks about lifestyle, he talks about many things. But one of the things he realized is that old people there retire from work, as in they don't work such long working hours, they don't work as much, because of course if you're 90 you're not going to be working 12 hours a day like maybe you did when you were 20 or 30 or 40. But they kept this sense of purpose, they kept this sense of sharing with the community. They felt like they had a purpose. They shared their wisdom, and maybe they didn't do it for money. Maybe they did it part-time, maybe they did it on a donation basis only. But it's not about keeping an income, it's about keeping that sense of contributing to the community and doing something useful and sharing their wisdom, their experience, etc., etc. So what the author realized is that this was something that kept them sane, that gave them a purpose to kill, a reason to keep living, So sometimes, most of the time, having a purpose not only means that you're gonna be happier, it means that your well-being is going to improve and it can mean even better health. So that's why it's so important to do something you love. And think about it like this: how many hours do you spend at work? On average, normally we spend a good 8 hours at the office or whatever type of work we do, plus lunch break, which we have to spend in front of the computer, plus commuting, and that's the best case, but a lot of people work like 10, 12, 14 hours a day. That's half of the day gone. And the other third of the day you spend sleeping, so that leaves you not many hours to just have fun, to just be with your family, to just be on your own, to just take care of yourself, We spend way too many hours at work. It's insane. It would be crazy to do something we hate. It would be crazy to spend all those hours doing something we find meaningless. That's a waste of time. And there is another option. And the problem is that we are trained or programmed to think that that is the only way. That the way to success is study, go to uni, find a proper job, like our parents say, or like society would say, find a proper job, work as many hours, work really long hours so you can get a promotion, maybe another one, so you can get a lot of money, or maybe a little bit, because working a lot of time doesn't always guarantee that you're going to make more money. And that's it, and retire as soon as possible, and that's life. That's not what life is about. That is not what life is about. And that is not true. That logic about that's the only way you're going to succeed, and that's the only way you're going to make money, is not true. Because it makes sense that if you can make money doing something you hate, something you don't care about, you're going to be way more successful doing something you love, because you're going to put all your passion, because you're going to put all your effort, because you're going to flow doing that work, because you're going to be using your natural strengths, your natural skills, your best talents. So of course you're going to be more productive. Of course you're going to get better results, and you're going to be more successful. But the problem is that sometimes the message we get, or the programming says something else. So we're going to look into that in the next slide. And that's why it's so important to get to know ourselves better, to go within and understand what we want, understand what we truly desire. Because what happens? We have distractions, so many distractions. Social media with all those notifications, WhatsApp group. We live in a world where we are hyperstimulated. We don't need all that. You know, we live completely distracted. Attention span is so short nowadays. We can't concentrate for more than 10 minutes on a single task because immediately we have this urge, you know, this urgency to check our phones to see if someone has messaged us. Or we keep receiving these notifications, beep, 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 you know, so it's impossible to concentrate on something. And most of the time, if we are honest with ourselves, is that serving us? When we check our phones, when we go on social media 10 times a day, what we're seeing there, is that helping us? Is that positive? Is that empowering us? Or is that only causing fear and negativity? So we start all this programming, and this starts at a very early stage when we are kids. And this comes with parenting. And we start receiving all these messages. No, you can't do that. No, you're not good at that. No, forget that. No, what you need to do is to study and get a proper job. No, what you need to do is work in the family business. No, the only way to make money is blah, blah, blah. Forget your dreams. That's nonsense. That's not for you. We start receiving all these messages from our parents, from school, from our teachers, from what we see on the TV. And sometimes, especially in our family, they try to just protect us, you know, and they want us to be safe. They want us to have an income and not to be dependent. And that's great. I mean, the intention is good. It's just that sometimes the way to do about it, all those messages are not going to be in our highest interest. And when we are kids, we absorb all that information like we were a sponge. And our brain is like a computer. We're going to start installing all those thoughts, all those beliefs, all those programs. And when we're adults, maybe by the time you're 30, you know, you've been programmed and prepared and trained to go to uni and find a proper job. And by the time you're 30, you realize, what am I doing with my life? No idea. Why do I have this job? Why am I doing this? Why do I wake up every morning for? You know, and we stop and reassess, like, where does this come from? Maybe this is not from me. That's what happened to me, and that's what happened to a lot of people. Why am I doing this? What am I doing this for? Is this me? Is this my decision? And yeah, of course, it was my decision, but it was conditioned by all of these programs and limiting beliefs. All these limiting beliefs we have about ourselves, all this self-doubt. And that's terrible. Because we are our worst enemy. And again, these limiting beliefs, these negative self-messages that we acquire when we are kids and when we grow up and we start having some experiences in life, and some of them are painful and we are hurt, and then we learn to protect ourselves. And we don't want to suffer anymore. So we create all these defense mechanisms and all these limiting beliefs to protect ourselves from failing, from being hurt, from being disappointed, and that's natural. But when it gets to the point where this is limiting our progress, our development, then we have to do something about it. And we're going to be doing some exercises on this. So we have all these external factors, for example, friends' opinions, family opinions, you know, and we want to go with the flow. We want to be accepted. We want to be loved. So if all of my friends are lawyers and they're very happy and they make a lot of money and they always go to these expensive restaurants and they talk about their projects and their cases and how much money they're making and their expensive holidays and blah blah blah. Yeah, if I want to do something completely different, I'm gonna feel scared. You know, I'm gonna think, are they still gonna accept me, or are they gonna reject me if I say that I don't want to work on this anymore, that I don't want to work on this anymore, that I want to take a career break to travel around the world and try to find what I'm supposed to do on this earth, on this lifetime, you know? Of course it's scary. Of course it is scary. And sometimes people are not very supportive because they will project their limitations on you. So many times what happens is that you have an idea, you know, I'm going to do this course. I'm very good at painting, so maybe I could start selling my pieces, my paintings, you know. They say, forget it. What are you talking about? That's nonsense. You're going to starve. You're never going to make money from that, you know? And they project all their limitations on you. And you think, yeah, I suppose it's true. Yeah, I suppose I better go back to my proper job, you know? And it is very sad, but it has nothing to do with you. So be very, very careful when you ask for advice or when you share your ideas about what you want to do next, who you share your ideas with. What type of support are they giving you? What type of advice are they giving you? Are they giving you advice from love, from empowerment, from encouragement? Maybe from a nurturing part? Or are they just trying to put you down and discourage you just because they have their own limitations and they're projecting that on you? So be very careful with you, because all these things we've discussed, distractions, programming, limiting beliefs, external factors, people's opinion, etc., they prevent us from connecting with our true self, with our purpose, and with living a fulfilled life and meaningful life. Because only by being ourselves, only by going within and understanding what our values are, what our priorities are, we will be happy. We need to live in line with these values and with these priorities to be happy. Otherwise, we will be playing a role. We will be playing a part. That's not us. We can put on many masks and layers and pretend to be someone we're not. That's never going to lead to fulfillment. That's never going to lead to happiness. That's only going to lead to frustration. To waking up every day thinking, what am I doing? What am I doing? And that voice is never going to go. That voice, what am I doing? What am I doing? That's your soul telling you, you have to do something else. You have to do something else. You can't settle for this. You're here to do something different. So find out what it is. So we're going to be now doing a few exercises for self-discovery, to understand our values, our priorities, to understand our passion, to understand our strengths. And if you're watching the recording, take as much time as you want to complete the exercises, and it's always good to revisit them, even if you do them now quickly, like in 5 minutes, because there's not much time to go through all the exercises, because I always prefer to give more content. Do them again, when you have more time, just or revisit the questions, your answers, and elaborate from your answers. So it's definitely worth spending a lot of time on this, and this stage takes time, because there are, especially if you're a very early stage, maybe your situation right now is, okay, I hate what I'm doing, can't deal with this job anymore, but I have no idea what to do next. That will be like the very early stage, and then you start having a lot of some clarity, or you have many ideas, you start brainstorming ideas, and then you filter and discard which ones are good for you. As you start this self-discovery process, maybe you will bump into some limiting beliefs or some experiences that you have to deal with before you can get that clarity, So take your time and do these exercises every now and then to see if something changes, to see if there are any discoveries. Okay, so the first exercise, we're going to be thinking about what we enjoy in our career. So it's about trying to find what we're good at and what we enjoy doing. So I want you to think about a time in your career, and that can be a role, a project you worked on, or maybe different parts of different roles, because sometimes you can think of a role that was great, where you really enjoyed what you were doing. So maybe one role wasn't that amazing, or you can think of one project or one piece of work you did that you really enjoyed, but maybe you enjoyed parts of different roles. If you can think of any examples, if you think, well, like actually I've spent all my life doing something I don't like, I've never enjoyed one single day of my working experience, you can think of someone you admire. Someone whose career you find inspirational, for example. But I'm sure you can find some, even if it's some moments, or there will always be a part of a job or something you did that was more enjoyable. So I want you to answer these questions. What were you doing? What was the work environment like? What type of people were you working with? What was the best part of it? What skills were you using? What was the outcome, results, or achievements? How did you feel before going to work around that time? And how did you feel when you got home after work? So I want you to think about also about the skills you were using, and how using those skills and those talents and those strengths, how did it feel compared to when you're doing something that you're not good at or that you don't enjoy? Okay, so you can if you're watching the recording, just pause the exercise, pause the video here, and take your time to do the exercise. Okay, so we're gonna move on to the second exercise, where we're gonna go back to childhood. So what happens when we are kids is that we are not programmed to believe that the world is a very unsafe place, that life is very hard, that we have to work hard to struggle to make money because that's what life is. But that comes later. All those programs come later. When we are kids, we have that innocence that helps us dream and think big, like we don't dare to do now anymore when we're adults. And that is such a shame. And if you talk to a kid and you ask them, what do you want to be when you grow up? They will be like, I want to be an astronaut. I want to be a model. I want to be I don't know, And immediately you go, forget about it. Like, you're going to be very disappointed. Just study, go to uni, get a proper job. You're not going to be an astronaut. That's very difficult. Don't even try. Like, don't bother. And we start saying all these things to kids, and yeah, they listen to us. Of course they listen to us. And maybe they shouldn't sometimes. And it's a shame because so many dreams and so many natural talents are stopped or blocked because of the idea that that dream is too big. That's being very ambitious. You're never going to make it. And the thing is that the fact that a kid is saying he wants to be an astronaut or she wants to be an astronaut when they're 4 or 5 years old doesn't mean that that's going to be the idea for the rest of their lives. But what we should do is explore what's the driver, what motivates them to say that. What do they see in an astronaut, in a model, in in a bartender, in an entrepreneur? What do they see? In a biologist, what do they see that motivates them to want to start that career? And that will change. But it's about discovering what they have to offer, because it's when we are kids, we just play. We just do what we're good at. We just flow with our skills, with our talents. So I want you to reconnect with that part of yourself and think about, what did you love doing when you were a kid? When time flies, and and I'm sure maybe your mom or your dad or any parental figures would tell you, oh my God, when you were a little kid, and maybe you don't even remember, and they'll say, when you were a little kid, you used to spend your time, dancing, singing around in the park, reading in your bedroom, like talking to everyone. Whatever it is, it will be different. But I want you to think about those skills that stood out when you were a kid, because normally, if we let kids develop those skills when they start coming out, we would help them connect with their inner, with the purpose, with the higher purpose, much more easily. Because now we have to go to this stage where we grow up and we are brainwashed and programmed to believe this and this and that. And then when we are 20, 30, 40, something clicks and we're like, wait a moment, something needs to change here. And it would have been much easier if they had helped us explore our natural talents and we were good at from the beginning, from an earlier stage. So I want you to think about it. If you don't remember, you can ask your parents or your siblings if you have, or cousins, anyone in the family, to help you think about that. What do you love doing? What do you want to be when you grow up? When they ask you that question, what do you say? And what did your family say about it? What did other people say about it when you said, I want to be a model, I want to be a banker, I want to be an astronaut? What did they say? What was the reaction? Because that will help you understand maybe potential beliefs or programs that blocked maybe something that you wanted to develop and you didn't because of these reactions. What have always been your natural strengths and skills? At school, we all have different skills, and our teachers, if they're a bit attentive, of course, not all of them, sometimes they will say, oh my god, this kid is so talented at, I don't know, numbers, letters, painting, logic, talking to people, anything, whatever it is. What was your thing? What stood out? What type of skills, what type of strengths or abilities? What was your dream? If they ask you, what was your dream? What did you think life was about? Well, my dream would be to, what do you want to achieve? Like, when you think, oh my God, if I had this, I would be so happy. If I could change something in the world, it would be this. What was that? So I want you to reconnect with all this. I want you to think about all these questions and reconnect with that part of yourself. And again, if you can ask your family, if you don't remember, or to get extra information, that's very, very useful. And it doesn't mean that everything you love doing as a child, you have to make a career out of it. Don't get me wrong, okay? This is not what it is. But it's just about finding what skills or natural talents were there, maybe how you can add them into your career, or just bring them back to as hobbies, just to your life, to reconnect with that creativity, with that playfulness, with that innocence, with that spontaneity. So I'm gonna leave some time now to answer the questions, and if you're watching the recording, please stop the video now and take your time to do the exercise. Okay, so we're gonna do one more exercise, and in this one we're gonna visualize, we're gonna define what our ideal career would look like. And this is so important. So I want you to think about these questions. What does your ideal career look like? What are you doing on a day-to-day basis? What problems are you solving? What talents are you sharing with the world? Where do you work? What type of people do you work with? How much money are you making? Do you work for yourself in a small company or a big one? What makes you unique? Why do you do what you do? And what gives you satisfaction about what you do? So this exercise, before we go into answering the questions, just to explain a little bit how we're going to do this exercise, I want you to write a list of, let's say, requirements that your ideal career will need to have. And you can use these questions to help you get those answers. And this is not about, okay, I want to get this job in this company. It doesn't need to be specific. And also, depending on where you're at in your journey, like I said at the beginning, maybe you just know that you hate what you do, that you don't want to do what you're doing anymore, but you have no idea what to do instead, and that's perfectly fine. And you can still do this exercise, and maybe it's not going to be so specific for you, or you're not going to have those details. Maybe someone is thinking, okay, so I've been doing a lot of thinking, I've been training, so I know I want to start my own business. I want to start my own travel blog, for example, and I'm going to start it as a side hustle, and as I make money, I'm going to consider quitting my job. I need to take a career break. I need to and just travel the world. Or maybe some of them, I don't know, maybe some of you know very clearly what type of job or role you have in mind, and what you want to do. Maybe you want to open a restaurant. Maybe you want to open a shop to sell the clothes you love making, whatever it is. So for some people it will be very specific in terms of this is what I want to do, and for some people it will be very general, and that's also fine. And if you have any doubts, if you're still not sure what you want to do, think about it as general requirements. And it can be something like, I want to have a career where I can work from anywhere in the world, where I can work flexible hours, where I can use my communication skills or my sales skills or my people skills, whatever your thing is. I want to work with a lot of people. I like working with in big companies because I want to be motivated. I'm a social person, I like to, or maybe you think I want to work on my own. I'm so happy working on my own and not talking to anyone and not going to an office. It will be different. It doesn't mean it's right or wrong. It has to be right for you. So even if it's like 4 or 5 things that would make your career ideal, or if you have something in mind, like I said, a dream or something, a problem you want to solve, something that has always been calling you and that you are passionate about, maybe you can say, I want a career where I use these skills or where I do something related to this field or to this topic. And you don't have to make it specific. You don't need to know about those details. That will come with time. That will come later. We're going to do some goal setting exercise later as well. And that will come with self-exploration and as ideas come up. So I want you to think for this exercise, when you have the answers, I want you to set your intention. I want you to put your intention out in the world and read this list every day. This is what my career looks like. This is coming to me. Visualize it. Visualize it coming to you. Visualize it happening already. Visualize how happy you feel if your career was like this. Imagine how grateful, how joyful you will feel if you're following your purpose. If you're doing something related to your passion, to your thing, and read it every day when you wake up and when you go to bed, or as many times as you want, and set the intention. This is what I want. And you will start getting answers. If you put your intention out there for something that is in your highest interest, and when you set the intention to connect with your life purpose, trust me, you will get answers. And suddenly you will meet someone that tells you about a training course, or that asks you to collaborate somehow, or that inspires you for some reason, or that tells you that she's doing a job or work that you didn't know it existed and they will be great for you. And those things happen. Where you put your intention out there, these things happen. And if you ask, you will get answers, So have this in mind, and you can go back to this exercise as many times as you need, because you can change. Priorities can change. Circumstances can change. And maybe as you find more clarity, you will add things to the list. So don't think that this is something you have to decide today here in this workshop. And whatever you write here, you have to stick with it. And that's going to be your direction for the rest of your life. No, not at all. It can change. It will change. Maybe you will explore some opportunities, some options that are not going to work out, or that you will realize that they were not for you, and that's fine. And that's part of the process. It doesn't mean that you're going crazy. It doesn't mean that you don't know what you're doing with your life. It just means that you are exploring, that you are getting to know yourself better, and it's part of the process. And it's natural, and it's happened to everyone I've worked with who want to connect with a purpose and change their career to something more meaningful. There's always that stage of, what the hell am I supposed to do? I have no idea. and changing your mind, and one day I want to do this and another day I want to do that. So give yourself time to think about this, and to think, to journal, to do some journaling, you know, to get ideas. Go to the park with a notebook to get some inspiration, to get some ideas. Talk to a lot of people to find out what they're doing, what alternatives you have, right? So I was going to say something else about this one. Oh, so and this is about direction more than an action plan. You know, so like I said, you put the intention, and this is the direction you want your career to take. This is not about deciding every single goal you want to achieve. This is not about understanding how you're going to achieve it, or, you know, the implementation of that plan. No, it's about having a sense of direction and moving on that direction, and things will manifest and will unfold when the time is right, and when you have more information, and when you start taking one step, then you will get more information, and you will know if that's the path, or you have to change it, and take a different step. And you know, if you have to continue doing that or do something completely different. So enough talking. I'm gonna leave some time now to do this exercise, and spend time with that one. We don't have a lot of time now, but do it again. If you're watching the recording, pause the video for as long as you need, and take time, and make sure that no one's going to disturb you. And even if you can go, you know, to a park, or if you have a garden, you know, being close to nature is always, it's always easier to get ideas, to get inspiration. So yeah, time to do the exercise now. Right, so we have all these ideas now of things we want to love, things we're good at, things that we enjoy doing, or we have enjoyed doing, things that we would love to do. Now, how do we make it happen? That's the $1 million question, right? So now I want you to think about action steps you can take after this workshop, and I really want you to commit, and whatever actions you write, I want you to commit and set a deadline to do them. So here, this step, it can take time. It depends on where you are, where your career, and how much you have been thinking about your purpose, what you're passionate about. If you're starting to question, okay, I just hate what I do, but have no idea what I'm going to do next, or if you've been thinking about it for some time, if you've been training for it already. So and this can take time, so don't think that don't expect this. If you're at that very early stage, don't expect to have a clear answer or a clear plan right now. I remember that for me it took a long time, and I work with a lot of people one-on-one, and it can take a lot of time to find this and to actually make it happen. For me, the way I started is, I hate what I'm doing. I need to quit. Now, this is what I've been doing all my life. So what on earth am I supposed to do now? Please, someone help me, some divine guidance, tell me what to do, because I have no clue, I have no idea. So it took me a lot of time to explore if I still wanted to work in the corporate world, but maybe in a different sector. I thought about, maybe I should do some marketing, because I could use my creativity. Maybe I could go to HR. That's like the human part of the companies, right? Maybe I want to be a Latin dance teacher, because that's something I really enjoy it and I'm good at it. So why not? Maybe I could be a Spanish teacher. I really love my language. I've always loved the grammar. Why not? And had to spend many time thinking about these options, and talking to people who had these roles, or who did that, to understand what was that about. You know, okay, if I'm going to be teaching Spanish classes, what does it involve? How much money can I make? What would I need? Do I need any qualifications? If I go to marketing, like, let me talk to some friends and see what they're doing. Okay, this is the same thing that I'm doing. It's just it's a different department, but I'm doing the same thing. You know, it didn't call to me. So one of the main things to do is gather information at this point, gather a lot of information, talk to people, ask them for advice, you know, and that can be one of your actions. So now that you have a general idea of what your ideal career looks like for you, not for anyone, not for your friends, not for your parents, for you, I want you to write 3 or 5 actions that you can take right now after the workshop, tomorrow, the latest. I'm okay with you living, enjoying the snow the rest of the day today, but tomorrow you start with that, okay? And maybe that is, it doesn't need to be something very complicated. It can be as simple as maybe have a look at new courses or qualifications to develop those skills, to see if you really like it, to take it a bit farther. Maybe do some research about potential jobs you could do. Ask the people you admire, you know, maybe you have 10 different ideas like I had in mind, you know, until I found out about coaching and counseling. I thought, this is my thing. And it clicked, you know, at some point it clicked. Okay, this is it for me. Okay, I'm gonna do this training. And maybe you start some training and only to realize that you don't like it or you try a new job only to find out that you don't like it. And sometimes we have to go through that process. That's not failure, that's not a mistake, that's not a wrong decision. That's just part of the process and part of the exploration. Maybe you want to start your own blog. Maybe I don't know, imagine you have an office job or you work in a restaurant, and your passion is on something completely different. Is about I don't know, making clothes for babies or things like that, or painting. That's what you love, you know, teaching how to paint, for example. Maybe you can start your own blog and see where that takes you, see if people like it, you know, without having maybe big expectations, but just it's something that baby steps, you know. Maybe you want to offer a service because you have some skills that you are not using. Maybe you want to start networking. Maybe you want to talk everyone about what you do. Maybe you want to take a career break. Maybe that's what you need right now. And spend some time thinking, and like I said, disconnecting from all those distractions, from all those toxic jobs, relationships, etc. Maybe you want to talk, if you work for a company, maybe you want to talk to your manager. If you have a mentor, you want to talk to your mentor, to someone you admire, you know, and ask advice. Tell them about your situation. Sometimes what happens is, for example, one of the things I did, I knew that I wasn't going to stay in my job much longer, especially after I did my master's degree and other course. I knew I was going to quit. But I remember I used to talk to my manager a lot and say, how do you think this is what I'm doing now? How do you think I can use these skills? How can you help me? You know, and sometimes it's about asking. We assume that the answer is going to be no, but why? Like, maybe you will find some help where you weren't expecting to find any help. Before, my transition was very slow because I wanted to be safe in terms of being financially stable. So I went part-time for a year or more than a year before I finally quit, you know, to have that balance, because it was something so different. It was so new. So maybe you can find some other working arrangements. I don't know, the possibilities are endless. So I want you to think of, and these are just some ideas, but I want you to think of 3, 4, 5, or 10 if you feel inspired, but something realistic that is not going to put you off. Actions that you can take, and it can be, okay, I'm going to call this person and I'm going to try to book a conversation with them to find more information. I'm going to do some research about these training courses available. I'm going to do some research about these jobs. I'm going to offer this service to my network, or I'm going to put a flyer on Facebook or something like that. It can be, or it can be something big, you know, like, today is the day, 2021 is the year when I'm going to start my own blog, when I'm going to start my own thing. It can be as simple or ambitious as you want it to be. But something, just make sure that the actions are realistic and that is something that you can implement or action tomorrow. Okay, guys, are you ready? I see people coming back. And I see many smiles. I love that. So, guys, like I said, this last exercise, I know, especially some days can be a bit frustrating, you know, the how to do it, how to actually make this happen. How am I going to work on something that I really love and that gives me a sense of meaning, and be patient because it can take time. So with all these exercises we've been doing, we've been thinking a lot. We've been getting some ideas. So especially with the one with the requirements of your ideal career, I want you to have that handy, read that every day, and set that intention, put that intention out there. And you can change, you can adjust it as you go. You can change your mind. You are allowed to change your mind as many times as you want, because sometimes this is one of the fears, you know. Oh, but if I try something and then I try something else, they're gonna think, you know, see, you have no idea what you're doing, blah blah, blah. It's not their business, you know. So so you are allowed to change your mind as many times as you want. And yes, use that to set that intention, and ask for guidance. You know, this is what I want, and this is what I'm going to manifest, and this is happening already, and this is coming to me. This career I love, I don't know how this is going to manifest, no idea. I don't know the details, but I know it's coming, and I know this is what I want, you know. So sometimes it's about setting that intention, and when you do that, you start seeing opportunities start to come, new doors start to open, and you will see that that's the making it happen sometimes is not about having the perfect plan, because the perfect plan, one, doesn't exist. And sometimes we make a lot of plans and life decides that there's something in store for us. So it's also good to flow and to see, you know, having that sense of direction, but seeing where how that manifests and how that unfolds. So I'm gonna back to share the screen. This is the one we just did. Right, uncertainty. So we've done all this thinking. We have so many ideas. We're so motivated because we're doing this workshop, and there are many other people in the workshop who feel like us and who are on the same journey. So that's easy, right? You just have to find out what to do. Okay, this is what I want to do. I make a plan, I follow it, it happens. That's it. And I know it's not that easy. So why doesn't why don't many people succeed at this? Why do so many people get stuck in jobs they hate, doing something meaningless, doing something that doesn't make them happy, that drain their energy? Uncertainty, fear, the what ifs, right? This is one of the main stoppers. Fear, uncertainty. What's going to happen? What if I fail? What if it doesn't work? What if I become homeless? What if I never, ever, ever, ever again I'm able to find a job? What if that happens? You know, and this and we lose our motivation and our beautiful ideas because the fear is stronger. And fear is a very useful emotion. It's here to protect us. And it's okay that we listen to it, to have a backup plan, to have some options, to have some alternatives. But if it gets to the point where it's limiting us, if the fear is the reason why we're getting stuck in a job we hate, we need to do something about it. And when we are stressed because of fear, the only part of our brain that works is the survival mechanism. So it's going to be thinking about stay safe, stay safe, stay safe. If you're thinking about, if you're stressing about what's going to happen next, am I going to be able to make money? Am I going to be able to pay my bills? What are my friends going to think about it? What are my parents going to think about it? They're going to kill me, you know? The brain doesn't understand. The brain understands that there is a big threat, and the fight or flight system kicks in. And we can't think clearly if we are under this state. And this was very useful when lions were chasing us. But the thing is that the brain doesn't know if it's a real lion that is trying to eat us, or is an email from our manager, or if it's an argument with our family or with our partner, or it doesn't understand if maybe we're just worrying too much about something we shouldn't worry about. The brain doesn't understand the difference. The reaction, the mechanism is exactly the same. So the higher brain doesn't work when we are under stress. So all these creative ideas, all this clear thinking, all this motivation doesn't work because the brain is occupied by trying to survive, by trying to pay the bills. So that's why it's so important to deal with this stress and fear. And we're going to be doing some exercises about it in a minute. Self-doubt, another killer, another motivation killer, another dream killer. All these doubts we have about ourselves, the inner critic, all these inner voices telling us, no, you can do it. No, this is not for you. No, you're not that lucky. No, that's only for lucky people. That's only for, no, that's not for you. Stick to your simple, don't get attention. Don't dream too big. That's not for people like you. That's who. So we need to tell these voices to shut up. Like that, shut up. Because that's not you. You are much more than that. So again, these voices, maybe they're just trying to protect us from failing, from being hurt, from being disappointed. But if they become limiting, if they are stopping our development, if they're stopping our dreams, then we have to do something about it. So again, about all of those what ifs, well, sometimes it's about having a plan B, or C, or D, or as many letters as you need. And we tend to forget that for every single scenario, there is always a backup plan. There is always something to do instead. And one of the things that that it's very useful, and I use this myself, I use this with my clients, is to break down the alternatives or the potential outcomes in a piece of paper. When you put your thoughts on a piece of paper, it's so clarifying. You can get so much clarity, and it feels less overwhelming because you realize that all your thoughts, all these crazy ideas, potential scenarios, which are all terrible and catastrophic and very dramatic, when you put all those in a piece of paper, you realize that, one, they're not that likely to happen, very, very unlikely to happen. And two, there's always something you can do about it. There's always something you can do about it. There's always a backup plan. So imagine you're stuck in a job you hate and you think, okay, I can't quit because I have to pay my bills. And because I have to pay my bills and because I'm stuck in this job I hate, I don't have time to understand what I want to be doing. And then it's kind of a spiral and it grows bigger and bigger and bigger. And if I quit, I'm not going to be able to pay my bills. But if I stay here, this is just going to be terrible and I'm never going to be happy. So it's about understanding what alternatives you have and what will be the backup plan. Okay, I want to quit my job because it's really draining my energy. And it's about, I see it many times like a decision tree, when you start saying, okay, quit my job, start my own business. Okay, this is risky. What could I do? But I feel like this is the right thing to do. Okay, what if it fails? Right, do I have savings? Yes. How long would those savings last? Assuming the worst case scenario that I don't make any money, how long could I support myself with my own savings? Okay, 3 months, 1 year, whatever. What if I need more savings? What if I need more money? Will anyone be able to help? My partner? My parents? Anyone will fund me? I don't know. What are the options? There's always an option. Okay, this is too risky because I have no idea what I'm gonna do. So I'm gonna stay in this job. What are other options? Can I go part-time? Maybe can I find another job where I work less hours that is not intense while I develop this? What if I start this training? What if I sign up for this master's degree and I don't like it? What are the options? Well, I can always do another one. Maybe I will find what I want to do instead. Maybe I will realize that this is not for me, and that's okay. And that's okay. Like I said before, you are allowed to change your mind. as many times as you want. So it's about understanding the options and what you could do about it. And of course, I mean, there will be pros and cons. And I'm not saying if you don't like your job, quit tomorrow and everything's going to be okay. You know, like, of course, there needs to be some planning and I don't know, just being a bit sensible. But there's always a way to solve it. You know, if I quit this job, I'm never going to find any other jobs, really. Never, ever. A similar job, of course, there will be always a way to find another, an emergency job, you know? So there are always options available. And having that clear idea, like I said, like I visualize it kind of in a decision tree with potential options and plans and what happens if this, having that on a piece of paper, it makes it less scary because it's control in there. Okay, I know this is what can go wrong, this is what can go right, and I'm gonna stick with it, and it's here, you know. And it goes from endless random thoughts that appear when you're sleeping and you can't sleep, when you're trying to, I don't know, to do your yoga class and you can't stop thinking about all these worries and all these things. So it becomes, it goes from random destructive thoughts to an organized idea or an organized plan that is in a piece of paper. And this is, it helps a lot with stress, fear, and uncertainty. And that's also a thing to understand. There is a book which is called Embracing Uncertainty by Susan Jeffers that I absolutely adore. And one of it has lots of exercises, you know, like to reframe the way we think. And one of the exercises she has is, how about we start thinking in terms of I wonder instead of I hope. So for example, instead of thinking, I hope I'm never fired from this job, you could reframe it as I wonder if I'm ever going to get fired. I wonder if this is going to be my last job. I wonder what's going to be my next job. You know, I hope this guy is really the love of my life. I hope this date goes well because I'm really hoping that this is the guy I'm settled with. And instead of that, reframe it as, I wonder what's going to happen tonight in tonight's day. I wonder how things are going to go with this guy. And I'm not saying that you should live your life to random events, but like I said before, it's about setting your intention, your direction. It's not the same thinking, I want to have a beautiful, loving, nurturing partner by my side. And I'm going to be open to meeting people. I'm going to be open to a relationship. I'm going to work on myself to make sure that I attract someone who's in line with my values. That intention is there. And something very different will be, okay, my neighbor is very cute. I want my neighbor to fall in love with me. I really hope my neighbor falls in love with me, because that leads to those expectations lead to frustration and disappointment, because maybe your neighbor has a lovely, beautiful, amazing girlfriend and they're going to get married tomorrow, you know, and it's going to be very frustrating. So it's about the intention. I want to have a partner. I want to have this type of job. This is what I want to do. I want to find my purpose, rather than I hope I know what to do tomorrow. I hope this year is the year I do, you know? So while you still have your intention and you're clear on what you want to attract, you leave room for uncertainty and to leave it to unfold. And we have to assume that we don't know how those things, it would be boring otherwise, you know. If we knew, imagine if we knew exactly what's going to happen in our lives between now until we die, it would be so boring. So there is also magic, and there is also a way to enjoy this not knowing, right? So that was a very powerful exercise that helped me a lot with my way of thinking, being a natural warrior and trying to plan everything and what's next and what am I going to do next. And so yeah, it was really helpful, and the book in general is very useful, so I strongly recommend it. Resources. What do I mean by resources? When we're scared, when we worry about uncertainty, when we fear what's going to happen next, many times it's because we think we don't have enough resources to deal with whatever we fear. So for example, if I have a job and I'm terrified that I'm going to lose it because of the crisis, and a lot of my friends are being made redundant, and I'm terrified, I'm really terrified that they're going to make me redundant, and that doesn't let me sleep. I can't enjoy my life. I'm working the weekends because I'm so stressed that they're going to fire me. If I stop and think, okay, they might make me redundant, it might happen, I have no idea, it could happen. I can't, there's not a way to know that is not going to happen. We can prevent that from happening. But if I think about, okay, it might happen, if it happened, what would I do? And again, it links to the decision tree. What would I do? Do I have savings to support myself for a few months? Do I have skills? Do I have talents? Do I have anything to share with, anything to offer to other companies? Could I find another job? Of course, I could find another job. Of course, my parents will help me. Of course, my partner will help me. Anything that, and these are just examples. But so if you're thinking that whatever happens, you have resources to deal with it, the fear, the stress lowers immediately, because you no longer rely on what's going to happen next, on what your company is going to do. You no longer depend on someone else's decisions. You depend on your resources, external and internal. And that's key. That is key. And there is a very beautiful quote that I can remember exactly how it goes, but it's about a bird on a branch. Is quiet, is able to enjoy and feel safe because it knows that if the branch breaks, it's able to fly. So he's not thinking, oh my God, the branch is going to break, the branch is going to break. No, if it breaks, I have wings to fly, So it's the same. Am I going to lose my job? This guy, he doesn't seem very committed. He's going to break up with me. All these things we worry about. Okay, if it happened, I'll deal with it. I have wings. So it's about finding those wings, and we're going to do one exercise about it later, at the end of the workshop. But first, I want you to, every time, so for example, if you're making career decisions and if you're thinking about your purpose and this fear kicks in, one of the, like I was saying before about the fight or flight system, and how our brain thinks we are in danger, and then we can only use the survival part of the brain. So we are not going to be able to think about what resources we have, right? Because the brain is going to be occupied with just trying to survive and trying to help us pay the bills so we can still eat. So maybe we're not going to be able to see things in perspective. We're not going to be able to think, I wonder, instead of I hope. Maybe we're not going to be able to use these resources. So one of the things you can do is breathe. And breathing is one of the ways you can tell your body that is safe. It's a way to reset the fight or flight system. So before you do any thinking, before you try to get any ideas or make any important decisions, breathe. And because if you think about it, when we are stressed, imagine a lion is chasing us. How do we breathe? We need to get the hell out of here, we need to run fast. Our whole body changes to make sure that we are either strong enough to fight or fast enough to run away, right? So our breath is very shallow. And the problem is that most people live in a constant state of stress. And sometimes we have the fight or flight response activated continuously. And that's so bad for our body, for our health, because all the all the functions like digesting, repairing, sleeping, they're not a priority anymore. That's why many times we go to sleep and we can't. We're still thinking, like, no, you can't go to sleep. You're not safe. You have to think a bit more and then worry a bit more. And then when you worried a bit more, then you think about a plan, and then maybe I will let you go to sleep. So we're going to do a very simple exercise, a breathing exercise. So we're going to breathe in for 4 and breathe out for 8. So I'm going to lead a few rounds in a second. The key about doing longer exhalations is that it gives the brain the signal that we are safe, we feel relaxed. So it's a way to going back to that calm state so we can think clearly. And when you breathe out, I want you to release, I want you to breathe out with the intention of releasing anything that is no longer serving you. Anything we discussed in the previous slide, fear, self-doubt, lack of resources, uncertainty, the inner critic, anything that you no longer need, I want you to put the intention of that leaving your body, that leaving your system with the exhalation. Okay, are we ready? Okay, so just take a couple of deep breaths. Just follow your normal rhythm. Just relax a bit more. And now breathe in, 2, 3, 4, out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. In, 2, 3, 4, out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. In, 2, 3, 4, out, releasing everything you don't need. In, 2, 3, 4, out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. In, 2, 3, 4, out, 2, 3, 4, 5. One last time. In, 2, 3, 4. And long exhalation, releasing everything that you no longer need. And just go back to your normal breathing. Take a breath out. Breathing through your mouth if you need. And this is one exercise that you can do every time you feel a bit stressed, every time that fear, that worrying kicks in. You can use this exercise, and there are many, because you can count on your own. You don't need to be, you don't need to do anything special. It's just the counts. And there are many, sometimes on YouTube you can find like guided breathing exercises that have maybe a gong or something like that you can follow if you want to do it for a bit longer and completely relax. But this is something that you can do even on the tube if you get angry at someone or at work and no one knows that you're doing it. You're just changing your breath, and very important to release with the when you breathe out with the exhalation, releasing any tension, anything that is no longer serving you. Okay, so we're gonna do one exercise. Let me just check 1 second. Yeah. Actually, let's do this one first, because I want to talk about intuition and inner guidance. And this is so important because, we do it with all areas of life, but especially with career, we only use logic. And logic is perfect. It's perfectly fine, but it's not the only inner resource we have to make decisions. And especially as women, like we can develop all this, call it gut feeling, intuition, higher self, sixth sense, this I knew it. was this gut instinct, you know, this voice was telling me I shouldn't go there, and I went there and this happened. This voice inside myself, I know that this job is not right for me. I know that this is not my path. This is not what I should be doing. And yeah, logic is great, but we also need to use this other part of the brain, you know, and this other skill that is always, I don't know, disregarded or discredited, you know, and it's so useful. It's so useful because that is going to come from your heart. That is going to come from your soul, and that's the voice. That's what's going to tell you what you should be doing right now, and what is in your highest interest. Not to make more money, not to be more comfortable. Whatever is in your highest interest. It can be making more money. Don't get me wrong. But sometimes we think, okay, if I have this job where I'm making all this money and I have to move to something else, you know, and we analyze it in a logic way. Or for example, I remember when I was considering quitting and doing something else, people would tell me, you're crazy. It doesn't make any sense that you want to quit. I said, well, it doesn't make any sense for you, but it does make sense for me. You know what I mean? Yeah, maybe logically it doesn't make any sense that I work 9 to 5 and I'm making a lot of money, but I don't want to be here. So yeah, maybe logically it doesn't make sense. Maybe it doesn't make sense for you, but my soul is telling me that this is not what I'm meant to be doing. This is not what I came here for. And there is always this argument or this debate or this inner argument between all these voices and these dilemmas. So next time you think about career decisions, and for example, if you think about your action steps, or when you're thinking about the ideal career exercise, and maybe you're not getting much clarity, think about and I started wrong. No, don't think about it. Feel about it. And this is the key. We always think about it. Okay, I'm going to think about what I'm going to do next. I'm going to think, what's the natural step for me? Feel about it, you know, and sit in stillness with all those distractions, with all those external factors, with all those friends, relatives, father, mother, blah, 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 blah. This is what you should be doing. You're crazy. What are you talking about? Blah, blah, blah. You know, step out of that for a moment, sit in stillness, and go within and visualize yourself doing the job you're doing right now. And what does your inner guidance say? Does it feel like an expansive feeling? Does it feel like light? Does it light up your heart? Does it make you smile? Or does it feel like it's so dark and, oh, don't go there, don't go there. That's not where you should be going. That's not what you should be doing. Feel it in your heart rather than thinking about logical arguments. Because sometimes logical arguments are not going to be in your highest interest and are not going to be the best foundation to make a decision. And how many times do we say, I knew it, I knew it? How many? I see people laughing so many times. I knew that this is not where I had to go. I knew that this is not the restaurant I had to go for dinner. I knew that this person was not for me. And we get stuck in toxic relationships when we know it's not for us. I knew this is not the job for me. I know this is not the lifestyle that is serving me. You know, so, and I'm not saying you should ditch logic and only think, because I know that we are not used to go within and to listening to our intuition. So it can be tricky sometimes to know, okay, what is a impulse, for example, and what is intuition? What is some other random voice talking, or what is my intuition? So that's why I think I talk about it in terms of feeling, because when you try to feel it in your body, it's much easier to know if it's something that lights you up, that makes you feel lighter, that makes you feel happy, or that makes you feel no please. So if you have any decisions to make in the foreseeable future, or anything that you have thought about in the workshop. For example, if you think, okay, I'm torn between these two alternatives or between these two ideas, or I have a list of 5 things that maybe I could be doing, you know, maybe like I had, for example, okay, how about, I don't know, marketing, human resources, Latin dance teaching, Spanish teaching, coaching, I don't know, and many other things that I had probably forgot because I had so many. So let's do it for just 1 minute. Try to think about those ones, you know, anything that came up in the workshops. Just close your eyes and visualize you remaining in your current job, for example, or starting that business you always wanted to start, or starting that course you have in mind, you know. So I'm going to leave you just 2 or 3 minutes so you can visualize that and see how your body reacts, how the sensation is. Okay, so write down any notes if there was something very clear or something that surprised you, or maybe some message that you received. And this is always something to use. So I love to have the notebook, you know, with all these decision tree and structure and ideas. But that if the foundation is not in our heart, if the foundation of the decision doesn't come from our soul, is useless, because those are just thoughts and plans that we can't control. But when your decisions and what the steps you take, the actions you take, come from that inner wisdom, from that inner guidance, then you see magic happening. So every time you have to make a decision in terms of, I have 2 job offers on the table, which one should I go for? This one makes more sense because it's more money, or this one makes more sense because it's closer to home, or I don't know, whatever the logic is. But how does that feel? You know, a combination of both. It's optimal. Okay, my loves. So we are going to do one exercise, a confidence booster, because I know that this is great. There's a lot of thinking, there's a lot of theory, there's a lot of exercises, we can do, but I'm really not sure about it. I don't know if this is for me. I'm not sure if I would have the, I want to do this, but I'm not sure if I'm good at this. I'm not sure if I have the experience. So we are going to do one exercise to work on our confidence. And after this, we're going to do a guided visualization to help you connect with that inner wisdom. So what is this exercise about? This exercise is about making a list of all the resources, internal or external, strengths, all the skills you have, all the challenges you've faced in your career before, your natural talents or talents you have acquired, your work experience, what experience you have. And I'm not talking about your previous role or your current role. Maybe if you started working when you were 16 and you did something many years ago, include that as well, because that's something you learned. What backup options you have, you know? So it's about building this, it's about reminding yourself all the resources that are available to you to succeed in following your purpose. Everything you have available to you or could have available to you to succeed in following your purpose, in following your path, in having that career you love and you deserve. So, and I want you to think big, because here's the thing that I talk to a lot of people who have years of experience and they have done so many different types of jobs, and they want to do something different, or they want to apply for a promotion and they're like, yeah, but you know, I don't have anything special, like I don't have many resources, I'm not sure. And they have 2 master's degrees, God knows how many years of experience, they've helped their parents in the family business, they start working when they were 16 in the summers, I don't know, so many things, you know. So and especially if you're thinking about what your next step would be, or if you have different ideas in mind, make a list of all those resources, all that experience, all those skills you have. So yeah, I'm gonna leave that there, and I'm gonna give 5-10 minutes so we have time to relax and enjoy the visualization. Okay, I'm going to leave 1 more minute to finish that amazing list. And when you have this list ready, this should always be growing, because I'm sure, I mean, I gave you, I don't know, like 7-8 minutes to do this list. When I do this with my clients, or when I recommend them doing it, I tell them to set a timer for at least, the very least 15 minutes, and keep writing until the alarm goes off. 15 minutes, it's the minimum. I recommend them doing it for 30. You think, well, what am I going to do for 30 minutes? I'm going to be just looking at the wall. Just keep thinking. And when you think you're done and you've put 10 or 12 bullet points, keep writing and keep thinking, and keep going back to different projects, different roles you've had, different works. Even if it was the most random job when you were a teenager to make some money, include that as well. Everything counts. Everything counts. All the talents you showed when you were a kid, even if you didn't use them later, but it's there. So everything counts, and this should be growing every time you remember, oh, I worked in that and I was really good at it. And my friends keep telling me that I was really good, or my colleagues kept telling me that I was good at this. Go back to your list and write it down. And this should be your Bible from now on. This should be the first thing you read in the morning, last thing you read when you go to bed. So 2 things together. The ideal career exercise, all the requirements, my intention, where I want to go, what I want to achieve, that intention to the universe, that sense of direction. And when the fear kicks in, or when the inner critic kicks in, then you have your confidence list. And when that voice starts saying, that's great, what you did in that workshop was great, but come on, think about it, that's not for you, like this is not going to happen, this doesn't happen for some people, you're not one of them, bring back that list, like counteract, but I have all this, how am I not gonna achieve it? It's crazy, of course I will. I have all these resources, I have all the experience, I have all these inner resources, all this strength, all this resilience, I have all these external resources, people that would help me, people that would guide me, people that would mentor me, of course I'm going to succeed. So it's kind of, that's the goal, that's the direction, you put it there, and in case that the self-doubt kicks in, you have this to counteract. Okay, so I think let's do the guided visualization now, in case someone has to leave at 2, and then I'm going to have time for questions in case anyone has any questions, or if if you want to share like where you're at right now, and if you want some advice or some specific tips. Some specific tips, I'm happy to stay a bit longer, but I think let's do the visualization now so everyone can do it in case anyone has to leave. Right, let me just change my screen. Okay, so you can turn off your camera if you want, if you feel more comfortable. And just sit or lie down if you want. Just choose a comfortable position. Close your eyes. And just become aware of your body. Take a few deep breaths. Breathe in through your nose and use your exhalation to let go of any tension. Anything that is not in your highest interest, just let it out. If thoughts arise, that's okay. Just don't engage with them. Keep focusing on your breath, and that will go. Just feel your body relaxing more and more with each breath. Now visualize yourself in a meadow. It is a sunny day, the sky is blue, and the grass has a bright green color. You start walking on the grass, and you see a river. Walk towards the river. The water is so clean, so clear, so pure. You swim in the water. It feels so good. You feel the water taking away any negative energies, old patterns, beliefs that are no longer serving you. All that is now going away with the current. Now you get out of the river and you see that a powerful, loving, compassionate woman is waiting for you. She has a dress for you. You change your clothes and put it on. She tells you in a confident, loving, compassionate voice that she is here to guide you and support you in your path. She tells you that she believes in you, that there is nothing you can't do. She tells you that she's proud of yourself and that you have everything you need to succeed. It's all inside yourself. And while you feel her empowering presence, ask her, what is my purpose? What do I need to focus on right now? What do I need to share with the world? What do I need to do more of? What do I need to let go of? What else do I need to know right now? Listen to anything else she might have to say to you. Now put your hand on your heart and thank her. Take a few deep breaths, absorbing her empowering and loving energy. You feel so grateful, so empowered, so at ease. Because you know that you can come back here anytime to ask her for advice, to feel her empowering presence, to get the love you deserve and the support you deserve. She will always be here inside yourself to guide you and give you the answers you need. Now it's time to say goodbye and leave. Take a few moments to say goodbye. And when you're ready, bring your attention to your body, to your hands, your toes. Start to move them slowly. Bring your attention to the room you're in, to this workshop, to this beautiful Sunday. And when you're ready, you can open your eyes. Okay, guys, so I'm gonna be here. If anyone has any questions, put them in the chat if you feel shy. Unmute yourself and talk to me. Feel free if you wish to.
I actually have a question.
Yeah?
The next step would be to do these actions that we that get us closer to what we ideally want from the career.
Yes.
And then to
Yeah, sorry, keep going.
And then to review over and over again so that the path becomes clearer.
Yes, so I think the first thing to do is, like I said, set the intention, knowing that that can change with time. So keep revisiting it. You know, if you read it every day, once a week, whenever you feel like, maybe it will change. Maybe you can add more things to the list. Maybe some things you will realize that they're not a priority anymore. Maybe some things that you didn't consider become a priority when you keep doing self-discovery exercises. Journaling, it is such a simple and great way to do this and to get to know yourself, to disconnect from the outer world, all the stimuli, you know, just you, pen and paper. So any thoughts that you might have, you can update your ideal career exercise or list with that, with any thoughts that you find relevant, with the intention and that direction. That's going to be like your compass, right? Like the direction, that's where I'm heading, that direction. I don't know exactly what village, what town, what restaurant, what hotel, I don't know, but that direction, that's the direction I'm going to. And you set that intention, and you have all the resources in case the self-doubt or the fear kicks in, and you have the actions to implement, and depending on what your actions were, that will give you feedback. So that this is like planting a seed, and now you will see that many small leaves are going to grow. So it's about what comes from there. This is just planting seeds. So for example, if your action was to talk to someone, to do more research, to start a course, that's going to give you feedback. That's going to help. That's like taking the first step. And then with the first step, you will realize, okay, there is a rock here. I have to change and adjust a little bit. Okay, this is flowing. This is flowing. So I'm going to keep going, keep going, keep going. Oof, a branch or a tree here. I need to reassess and keep going. And one of the most important things, like I say, is allow yourself to be patient. Allow yourself to take the time you need, you know, to not make rash decisions, or don't set a deadline. Okay, I need to figure out what to do with my career by the end of the month, because that's too high expectations, and that can lead to frustration. So and it's a deep process. So just allow yourself to be patient, and to have that time, and taking baby steps. And from there, the next action will come, and then the following action, and then the following action. Maybe you know you have to continue with that because it's flowing. Maybe you see that's a dead end, and you have to think about something else. So yeah, intention, action steps, and it's all interactive, and it will keep changing and adjusting as you do more self-discovery, as you gather more information, and maybe as you start practicing some of the things or implementing some of the actions.
Thank you.
Thank you, Anna, for joining. Lovely to hear you.
Thanks so much for the visualization exercise. With regards to, you mentioned like imagining that you're speaking, like you meet a lady and you're speaking to her and you're kind of asking her questions. This sounds stupid, but in that kind of visualization sort of process, are you meant to kind of imagine the answers that she's giving to you, or do you literally just ask the questions, and then once you finish the visualization in your daily life, like, will the answers start coming? And it's I know it's not a kind of completely sort of direct sort of response, but I just wondered what the process is meant to be in terms of putting those questions out to this lady. Like, say you do that visualization every day, are you meant to literally just put the questions out there and then literally kind of just sit in stillness, and then organically over time the questions come to you, maybe in your daily life when you're washing up or something? Or are you meant to get some kind of response whilst you're actually in the process of doing the visualization?
Yeah, no, I totally understand what you mean, and it is different for every person. It will be different for, if you have 10 people doing this visualization, everyone will have a different experience. So the thing about visualizations, and when you have the link to this, you can do it again and again, is that it's a way the brain processes it, and also is a way to be disconnected, you know, from all the stimuli, distractions, blah, 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 blah. So you literally go within, and that's where you can find the best answers. Now, sometimes imagine this is the first time you do something like that. It's like everything, with practice, you will get better at it. And it doesn't work in the same way for every person. So for example, if you're doing the visualization, I think the key is to not force anything. Just relax and let whatever happens, happen. So imagine you're doing this visualization and you're asking the questions, you know, so what is next for me? What am I supposed to be doing? And there is no answer. Just be there. Just be there with it, because maybe the answer will come when you wake up tomorrow morning with a sudden burst of inspiration, you know, and not in the visualization, because maybe that's not enough time for you to connect with your inner guidance. Some people get really clear messages, you know, like this is what you have to be doing. There is no right or wrong. So it basically depends. And it happens to me many times, and it happened to me very recently that, for example, even without doing guided visualizations, I went to bed and I put my intention out there and I said, I need guidance with this. I need advice, like, universe, I need a clear sign, an email, a song, something that helps me understand or that helps me know what my next step is. And the following morning, I was doing my meditation. I meditate every morning, and I suddenly had this desire to write. My hand was literally burning. So I started writing. Writing is a great way to have these ideas. For example, sometimes when you're doing the visualization, you think, but am I talking to whom? Like to myself, to someone else? What is it? It can feel a bit weird, you know? And sometimes writing is much easier, and you write without thinking, you know? So don't let the logic, the mind, the ego interfere. It's not about writing a biography or or talking to your diary, you know, just write whatever comes, and you will be surprised and you will be amazed at the results. A guided visualization is a great way to do it, because you just have to relax and let it unfold. And writing after it is very, very useful, you know, because maybe you don't visualize that, or you don't feel, or you don't get any messages, but they will come if you write about it. So yeah, it is basically about practicing and see what works better for you. You can do it on your own, just sitting in stillness, because some people need 5 minutes, some people need 25, you know. So go to the park, with nature, you know. It's always much easier to get inspiration when we are surrounded by a nice environment. Now if you on the tube, for example, it's not the same. So you can do it on your own. Go to a park, to your garden, and just be with yourself, and just wait with no expectations, no rushing. Just sit and see what happens. You can use guided visualizations, and you can write. I think those are the best ways to do it, and there is no better than the other one, or there is no right or wrong. It's about practicing and finding what works better for you. I'm not sure if that answered the question, but
it does. Thank you very much.
My pleasure. And once you put your intention, you will get answers, either if it's from the lady in the visualization, and I mean, that's just a way to connect with yourself, you know. Just it's just a ceremony, or if it's a symbol of just something you have within yourselves. When you do that guided visualization, and maybe the empowered, wise woman is telling you to, I don't know, to follow your passion, to take on that training, to offer that service, to whatever it is. I mean, it's not an alien talking. It's you. It's not me. It's not me telling you in the guided visualization, this is Elena, this is what you need to do now. Helen, this is what you need to do now. No, it's yourself. You have it inside yourself. You have it. So it's about connecting with that inner wisdom, and for that sometimes we need to cut off a little bit all those distractions, all the programming, all the negativity, all the people who will tell you, no, you can't do this, you know. And it's about making that decision. It's about making the decision and then seeing things unfolding. So
I've just got pages of really, really good notes here. I think I'm not always, I don't know if I'm always very focused to to be a good note taker in times like this, but I feel like really empowered today, and
Awesome.
like things are kind of linking up through like my own therapy sessions and other workshops I've done with you. Like I've been working a lot on my sort of lost inner child with my therapy the last couple of months, and you talking about sort of connecting back with our childhood and thinking about all the things we enjoyed and without other kind of like adult distractions, obviously, like we have now. I think that's really useful. Like that's something I've been trying to think about this last year anyway, just in terms of reconnecting with hobbies I used to do years ago and have just like let slip. But I think kind of feeding that more into like the job as well would be really good. And also what you were saying about feeling things rather than just letting the mind take over. That's something that's actually really hard to do, but again, it's just like giving yourself that space and that time to tune into it. So lots of like new stuff, but lots of like really good reminders as well of things I'd like to work on. So it's been brilliant. Thank you.
Awesome. So happy to hear that. Actually, I'm planning one of my next workshops. I think it's going to be about the inner child. Oh my God, because we abandon her so often, and we lose, and most of the times it's because of other experiences, and the inner child is just sometimes wounded or hurt or scared, and we ignore her so badly, and we need that. We need the inner child to have that creativity, that spontaneity, that being in just playing. Enjoy life is about enjoying as well, it's not just about surviving, it's about having fun, it's about feeling, and it helps a lot with purpose, because when the inner child is engaged in the work you do, even if it's a tiny bit, all this creativity, all these natural talents come up naturally. So it's definitely going to help you succeed. It's not about having fun, it's about connecting with that part of yourself to help you succeed, and so it doesn't sabotage yourself, because we're ignoring her all the time. So very, very important point, and that was in my list for next workshops, because we ignore her so badly. So happy to hear that. It's an amazing thing to do. Any other questions?
I just wanted to say, because a lot of people think that to be a genius requires some extraordinary abilities and high IQ, but what geniuses actually manage to do compared to other people, they manage to, their brain staying in alpha, which is like quite a low, it's like a meditative state of mind, basically. They call it relaxed, the state of flow, they call it as well. So they manage to connect the logic and the intuition together. So the left and the right hemisphere, and to keep this condition for hours. We manage to do it during the day a few times when we get some intuition talking to us, like here and there, but they manage to keep it like constantly for many hours. That's what, in my opinion, genius is. This cooperation between left, like logic and intuition, left and right, and keep it. And that means we have to stay calm, listening, like focusing on the right thing, or like, our intentions have to be on the right spots, and then we can be geniuses without somebody to tell us, to validate, oh, you are so stupid. We can validate ourselves by this.
Absolutely, we can all be genius. Like I said at the beginning, I know it's possible to do something you love and to make money from something you love. And I'm not anyone special, I'm not the chosen one, and a lot of people do it, and it's not because they're the chosen ones. It's just about wanting to do it, using the resources and making the decision, I'm going to go for it. And I'm going to put all my effort, and I'm going to be guided, and I'm going to receive the support. And anyone can do it. You don't need to have any kind of special talent or ability. It's about using those resources. So whatever you're thinking, guys, go for it. Anyone else has any other questions? Okay, guys, so thank you so much for coming. It's been a pleasure to share this 2.5 hours already with you. I will let you know when the next one is. I'll keep you updated for new events. I really hope it was useful, and I'm gonna send the replay tomorrow, I think. And if you have any questions, you have my email address, so please feel free, or when you're implementing your actions or whatever, if there were any questions about what we discussed, please feel free to reach out to me. Always happy to help. So have a lovely Sunday, everyone, and see you soon. Mwah. Take care. Thank you so much for joining this workshop. I really hope you like it. So if you want to find out about more resources and other ways to work with me, here is my email address. Please feel free to reach out to me if you have any questions, and my website, where you will find all the free resources I have, including the blog and some videos and PDFs that you can just access for free. I also have other workshops like this one that you can buy from the website. There is one on self-confidence and self-love, and another one, Awaken Your Inner Power the Feminine Way, which is more about connecting with our inner power and embracing our female cycle to optimize performance, well-being, and fulfillment. And of course, I have my one-on-one sessions and packages. So have a look. And if you have any questions, just email me or book your free first consultation. Thank you very much. See you soon.